It was bigger news, and I wanted to take a time just to acknowledge the respect I have for him as a player and a person, and the difference he's made for our team, his toughness, his consistency. I think he's been to 4 straight Pro Bowls, so that says it all right there. I'm excited to see where he goes. I'll always be pulling for him, and I kind of optimistically hoping maybe we get him back. Who knows? But maybe there's an outside chance. So we'll see. But with that, I can take any questions you guys have.
How about the Netflix thing everybody's talking about that came out today when they followed you last year? Have you seen the whole thing? What have you seen? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it comes out in July. They followed us through last season and captured a lot of content. We're mic'd up for every game. I think it was a big help that the Vikings, being Kevin and Kwesi and our ownership, allowed them to be around. I think it was not the easiest thing to do, to let them into a couple different settings here and there, and so the fact that they let them in says a lot about the organization's willingness to help. But it'll be just good to see how people respond to it and how they feel about it. The hope was that people could get maybe a little bit more of an inside look at what it's like. That was the hope. But again, you can only give them so much access, and there were times where it's like, I'd love to have you in this or that meeting, and it would paint a better picture of what it's like, but just we're not going to let you in, and so that was part of it. But they I think did a good job editing it, and we'll see in July.
Kirk, you had mentioned at the end of last year, during the year, that you knew that there'd be some players moving on.
Yeah.
That just kind of happens. And I'm curious now that we're more or less on the other side of that, what your sense of this offseason has been, how you interpret it in terms of the direction of the franchise and all that.
Yeah, I think there's always going to be change. So you expect it every season. I think people you've played a lot of snaps with, like a Dalvin, like an Adam, can be a little more difficult, but you can also point to some guys who may not have been back that are, like a Garrett or an Alex. So that's also exciting to have a lot of stability there too. The O-line is a group that I'm very familiar with, and even losing Adam, you look out at the receivers and you feel like you're throwing to guys the tight ends. So there's some consistency there too, and it'll always be that way. But I think we've got a pretty experienced group on offense, which is a real positive.
At this time of year, do you try to assess how competitive you think this team will be, or what their ceiling could be, or
Yeah, I think you're always trying to gauge, what do we have, what do we need to work on. I think as the quarterback, you don't really think about the defense. You only think about the special teams, and so we're only 1/3 of the game. So you certainly are focused on or aware of what your group is providing or not providing, but you also kind of leave it at that too, and understand that it's not the whole picture.
You thought those departures, you lost a lot of snaps, you said, but also a lot of leadership.
Yeah.
By those guys, has that been on your mind at all as far as more of a way for you to film and
Well, I think it's a great opportunity for more players to continue to grow into their roles as leaders, and it happens naturally. A Christian Darrisaw as a rookie isn't going to lead, quote unquote, as much as he's going to lead now, and what he can do, so, and how he's been around now. So it just has a natural progression, and you always have the next group of guys that are ready to step up and take on a bigger role, not just on the field, but certainly in the locker room and with their presence and their leadership.
We're talking to KJ Osborne yesterday. I was asking him about this new defense. He said,
Yeah.
I said, does it make things harder for you, KJ? He said, it's going to make things really hard for quarterbacks.
Yes.
Have you had enough vision of what they're doing to see that there will be some pressure on the opposing QBs?
Yep, it is a difficult defense to go against. Have a lot of respect for it. I think it's been effective when you look back at the last few years in the league, and it's a balance of saying, hey, I'd like to go out here and light it up and kind of scheme the practice to go against this defense. And on the other hand, I know we've got to play 17 games where not every team will have this defense. So let's kind of prepare for the season and not just for this opponent in today's practice. And that balance can be hard. So that's something that we try to walk. But certainly coming back for training camp, having had now 2 months and double-digit practices against them, you have a better feel of what to be ready for. Because even today, a couple times where you just feel like, man, I'm I'm not prepared enough myself to go out there and really be able to shred this defense the way I need to. And so for training camp, it's got to be better.
What is it about
the toughest thing about it? So when, as far as the looks go and blitzes and stuff, if there's one thing for quarterback that makes this especially tough, what is it?
Well, I would love to just kind of tell you everything about our defense, but I'm probably not going to do that. So I understand the question, but out of respect for Flo and not giving away secrets, I'll probably exercise caution and not share much. But you know, they put on tape the last few years, and I think they just do a good job with their fronts, their coverages, their pressures, disrupting timing. I've had some good conversations with him where I've been able to learn a lot about his background in football, and it's been great having him.
How about TJ Hawkins? Does he have full grasp, or did he have full grasp coming into the season last year? Is there anything different, you know, as he's involved?
Yeah, I continue to look back on that first week. I think it was Washington, and marvel at he had a full grasp then. It seemed. I mean, he came out ready to go. Could trust him right away. We gave him a lot of volume, and he handled it well. And so that's never really been an issue. And just great to continue to get to work together on different routes and you know, talk through different things that inevitably come up when you practice.
Contract-wise, have you had talks with the team or your reps since, you know, things got cut off a bit in March? And if you have, is there a certain time point where the extension is going to come? Do you want that to be done before you start to really concentrate on football?
Yeah, I think we'll probably talk about the contract next March, and until then, just focus on this season and the job to do right now.
So nothing of late though, as far as talks in the last couple of months or so?
No, just going to work.
Kirk, you mentioned continuity of offensive line. Where is that most valuable?
Well, there's ability to, you know, call on previous reps. There's ability for them to have worked together, where, you know, they really know each other well. And I think it's also the coaches, the fact that Scotty and Cooper in there in the room every day, and they built a rapport with the guys. And it's not just the starting five. I mean, the fact that Brian's down right now, but Ole's in, and I've played a lot of football with Ole, that just gives you comfort to know that he can do it, and he's really at his ideal position at right tackle. So you feel very confident in him, and you know, Austin Schlottman too, being able to come in at center in a pinch or guard, you know he can do it. So Chris Reed the same way. It's a bit of a luxury to have 2 and 3 depth, where it's guys you've played with in meaningful snaps, and you know, that gives you confidence because you know that guys get dinged up, and you want that depth.
You talked about spending time with the guys the past couple of months. Kevin mentioned yesterday the Jersey Day, taking guys out to restaurants. Why is that stuff important? You know, how does that translate on the field? Just a connection that you can build off of.
Yeah, it's just great to get to know people. You know, Brian O'Neill was commenting how rehabbing his Achilles, that he's in the training room every day with a couple other guys who are rehabbing injuries. And he said, because I asked him yesterday, what's the silver lining of having this injury? And he said, I mean, I got to know 2 guys on this team that I probably never would have gotten to know at the level that I do, because we spent every day together in February and March and April, and I'm pulling for them in a different way than I maybe was 3 months ago. Not that I didn't want them to succeed then, but it's just different now. And I would just second that. When you spend time with your teammates, when you ask questions, when you get to know them, when you care about them, it just changes the way you pull for them, the way you pull for each other, the way you work together. And during the season, even during training camp, it's difficult to find the time to do that. But yet during our OTA time, there's a little bit more free time. And so we just try to take advantage of that and be intentional about, you know, spending time together the best we can.
What did you think of the results of Jersey Day?
I mean, there's always room for improvement. You know, we didn't have quite the participation rate that I would have liked to see. I don't know if it was, I mean, you were in the building 60%, 70% maybe? I got to get that up to 90 next year. I don't see why we can't get 90%. So they'll have 364 days to get ready for next year's Jersey Day. So they got some time, but it was a good first year in the inaugural year. We got to build on it.
Assortment? Yeah. Good assortment?
Yeah, it was a great assortment. There were a lot of repeats. Bobby Boucher, there were more than a few of those. I wore an Iverson jersey, and I realized there would be like 6 other Iversons. We had everything from Georgetown Iverson to Philly Iverson to the Nuggets Iverson, which I hadn't even forgotten he had played for the Nuggets. So, you know, I got a lot of jerseys in my closet growing up. I told the guys, I said, you know, when I was growing up, you know, the 50 Cent music videos, it was all jerseys. And then they just disappeared. And I don't know where they went. I'm trying to bring them back. So Tuesday at minicamp, we're going to bring them back. And maybe someday, you know, everything comes back around. Maybe someday jerseys will be back in. But until then, we're gonna rock them one day a year.
why did you most want to do